Hello. Thank you and welcome to Salome Says, where you learn to dive deeper into knowing and understanding who you are and living life authentically. Thank you again and welcome to Salome Says, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Salome Says. And today I have an exciting topic that I want us to dive a little deeper into and get some understanding. All right, but especially today I'm super duper excited to talk about this topic, and I'm gonna read what I wrote. Sometimes I have to stop myself. It almost feels like I have so much to talk about. Every time I see something, it's like this inspiration comes to me and I'm like, I can talk about that. So I decided to write some things down today and bring you this topic that I can't wait to share with you, because I do feel like this topic today directly relates to my life. All right, it directly relates to circumstances that I have been through. So today's topic is entitled The Interpretation of Mistakes. I love it. Mistakes, what are they in our lives? That's an important question, right? It's an important question. It's an important topic that one might have a question about, okay? So let's talk about it. No one wants to make a mistake, right? I know I don't. Who wants to? At least not intentionally. You don't go into it intentionally saying to yourself, well, I'm going to make a mistake on here, and here. Nobody does that, okay? But have you ever felt ashamed or embarrassed because you made a mistake? I know I've been there, all right? Have you ever gotten those feelings that really just don't feel comfortable just because you made an error, you made a mistake? But there are different reasons why you may feel that way, or you may maybe experience this kind of feelings, okay? You made a mistake about something or someone and you blamed yourself for it, right? Have you ever done that, where you may have made a mistake about something, someone, and you blame yourself for it? All right? Ourselves in that place of blame can sometimes negatively affect us. Right? It can affect us in ways of damaging our self-esteem. So those are some of the ways that when you start to place this whole idea of blame onto yourself, it can negatively affect you by damaging your self-esteem, your confidence, and maybe change your perception of yourself, right? All right, because that blame is leading into a lot of different things, or whatever it is that you may have said to yourself that may not even be true because of that mistake, okay? It can actually trickle down to a lot of other areas of your life, okay? And that could be causing more heartaches for you, all right? And other unsettling feelings, which can lead to at times depression, anxiety, feelings of stress, that just trickles down to a lot of things. All right, so it comes from one mistake or something that you really just didn't feel good about. Now, because you did not take the time to deal with that properly, you know this like a trickle down effect, right? Like a trickle down effect. Now you're having more issues to deal with, right? So this is what we're going to dive a little deeper into today. All right, viewing a mistake in this way does more harm than good, instead of what is really meant to do in your life, right? Because again, that's just what it is, all right? Remember, everything happens for a reason. This is something we talked about. So here are some alternative ways you can perceive a mistake in your life that could really lead to some growth, okay? So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to be moving some papers around today because, like I said, I took the time to write out a lot of stuff just to be able to bring you this full message, okay? All right, so we're talking about looking at a mistake in your life that could actually lead to growth. All right, we will be taking apart how your views of your mistake can impact your life, both negatively and positively. All right, so let's pay attention. I am of the belief that the way you interpret events in your life directly affects the outcome of those events, right? So the interpretation you have put together, or whatever it is you perceive as a mistake, is going to directly affect the outcome, because based on the way you think about it is how you're going to deal with it, all right? Mistakes can be viewed in two ways, all right? And one of the ways would be, number one would be, it can indicate a do-over in the sense of perfecting something, all right? Or being good at something. So have you ever made a mistake and then you went back and you said, okay, this is my first time. Now I see where I made this mistake. And moving forward, I don't have to make the same mistake because now it's been rectified, or at least I know where the mistake is coming from, so I can go back and, make some changes on that, okay? So now a do-over would take the sense of maybe, trying to be good at something again, perfecting it, which would then allow you to correct whatever it was that didn't go right the first time. So that's what a do-over does. It allows you a mistake. If you look at it in the sense of a do-over, now you get the chance of going back and doing it right the first time. The second time, I should say, because the first time you didn't do it right. So now you're going to go over it and make sure everything is okay. But you're learning from your mistakes based on past experiences. You're taking aspects of those mistakes and making changes to them, okay? Or the second way you could view the mistake could be, it can be viewed as something you don't ever want to repeat because you learned a valuable lesson. Have you ever dealt with something you deemed as a mistake that literally taught you a valuable lesson, a lesson that it was so painful that you just don't want to have to even for a second go back to that place? Because it impacted you in some ways, okay? So we're going to break those down. Those two ways of looking at mistakes. We talked about how mistake, if you look at them in a place, coming from a place of blame, how it can negatively affect everything that has to do with you, your greatness, I should say. And these two ways that I just mentioned are other ways you can look at them, okay? One would be a do-over, and the other one would be something that really had a traumatic impact on your life that you just don't want to have to deal with anymore, all right? So speaking of a mistake being looked at as a do-over, the first one, it gives you a chance to get it right. We talked about that, which would take the form of carefully looking at those areas of your thinking, right? Because when you have the opportunity to do over, you're looking at areas and aspects of your thinking and behavior that needs to be worked on or tweaked just a little bit, okay? In order for you to get the best outcome that you say you want, right? So you're making these changes, all right? An example of that would be saying something or doing something that you thought was good with all the right intentions, okay? But then later you found out that it affected someone or something, okay? If you're one of those people who I should say are maybe introspective, you're gonna mentally, physically, emotionally work on those different aspects of your life to make sure you are comfortable with the result, okay? So when you're able to do that, you will then be able to view a mistake as something needing to change in order for you to develop new skills and implement them the right way, right? So a do-over require you to carefully look at areas of your thinking, your behavior in order to not make those same mistakes, okay? Because you can't do over the right way if you have not confronted the old ways. And it's going to require you to be up to par mentally, physically, and emotionally to be able to deal with whatever it is those mistake has presented to you. But in turn, you're learning new skills to be able to do it the right way than you did the first time, okay? So those are aspects of mistakes you can pay attention to. An example will be communicating your feelings, your thoughts, and emotion in the way that yields results, because that's what you want, right? It will also be asking for help when you need it, All right. So in order for you to do over that mistake, you're going to have to be able to communicate your feelings and thoughts, get to that place where you're comfortable. It would be asking for help when you need help, right? So you don't have to make the same mistakes. All right. So you can get some clarification or something so you don't make the same mistake. It's going to require you to do that, because if you don't take those necessary steps, what's going to happen is you're going to probably make the same mistakes. Okay. In those instances, you will then view that mistake, because remember, you are learning from it. So is it really a mistake? Well, for today, we would call it a mistake, okay? You would then view that mistake as a stepping stone to your growth, right? Because now you are emotionally, mentally, and physically up to par. You have asked for clarification. You have asked for help. You've done what it takes so you don't make the same mistake, okay? So all that is going to present you, it will be an opportunity for you to grow, okay? You will then view that mistake in ways that will require you to keep an open mind to learn in order for you to master that skill. In order for you to do over, you have to keep an open mind for you to be able to get clarification about things, asking the right questions, okay? To make sure you don't make the same mistakes. These are all conscious steps that you will be taking to be able to accomplish what it is that you say you want to accomplish, to develop new skills that you want to develop, because what a mistake does is it's an opportunity for you to grow, to develop new skills. And this is your opportunity, okay? We learn from making mistakes, which help us grow. We talked about that. You can't grow if you have not made a mistake. How are you supposed to learn? All right? On the other hand, pay attention. I really want you to get this. If mistakes are viewed as something you don't ever want to repeat, all right, or have to deal with again, perhaps that mistake have caused you some pain. We talked about that, okay? That's something you don't ever want to revisit. But because you don't want to revisit, at times you may not even want to understand that the purpose of that mistake in your life. You may not even have the emotional fortitude to be able to process that mistake because you're not there yet, okay? Perhaps that mistake have caused you some pain. We talked about emotional pain of some sort or something like that have left you feeling compromised in some ways, because you will only be able to feel that way of maybe not wanting to really dive deeper into understanding that mistake when it has left you feeling like some kind of way, in a compromised way, or giving you a feeling of uneasiness of some sort, okay? So if you felt compromised, if you happen to feel, I should say, compromised both mentally and physically, at times it can be so painful to the point where you don't really want to even confront it. You ever been the type, I know me sometimes, because something is so overwhelming and mind-boggling, it gets to a point where I just don't want to deal with it, but it really doesn't solve the problem. What it does is actually makes it worse, I should say. Take them apart to be able to make sense of it, to understand what it is or where it was that I went wrong. So as a result, because I don't want to have to confront it, I ignore it, and it stays there. It doesn't get better. And what does that do for me? Not much. Either way, you want to look at a mistake as a do-over, or you want to look at it more of something you just want to deal with because it has left you with some traumatic experience, or it has compromised you in some ways, there is still hope for you, okay? There is still hope at the end of the tunnel, all right? You can still choose to learn from that mistake the first time so you don't repeat it. That's why it's there for, so you can learn, okay? At the end of the day, right? Know that mistakes are there and meant to help you learn and grow. That's their purpose. That is the ultimate purpose, right? But it would depend on your views of those events, of what you deem as mistake. So it will depend on your views of how you see those events in your life, okay? Those mistakes in your life, how you interpret them will determine the outcome. We touched on that, okay? Either way, there is a lesson to be learned. If you look at both sides, either way, there is a lesson to be learned, okay? Now, The issue comes in when you don't pay attention to those mistakes and what they are trying to tell you. Pay attention. Pay attention, because again, everything happens for a reason. So mistake, as you would like to call them, pay attention to what it's trying to tell you. If you neglect to do so, all right, then you will keep having to relive those mistakes in different forms until you learn the lesson that's trying to teach you. Have you ever had the same thing happen to you over and over again, maybe in different situations by different people, but it kind of looks similar to what happened to you in the past? Have you ever dealt with something like that? Or you're maybe looking at yourself like it always, and saying, I should say, I'm sorry. Maybe you're looking at yourself and saying, oh my God, it always happens to me. These would be the instances where it would appear or seem as though it's always happening to you. It's only happening to you because you're neglecting to pay attention and learning the lesson that it's trying to teach you, okay? Look at those mistakes you made in your life in instances where you use mistakes as a learning tool, right? Have you ever been able to look at mistakes in your life and use them as a learning tool? This is a great opportunity because, it's only there, and it's only there. And then it's meant to help you grow, all right? The goal is for you to learn and eventually master those skills that you can only achieve through making mistakes and learning from them. That's the ultimate goal, is to eventually master the skills that you have learned to make yourself a better person, to make yourself into this awesome person that you are more than you were before, okay? Because you're not the same as you were yesterday, the day before, a month ago, a year ago. You're always learning. And I bet you've made mistakes over and over again. That's how you learn, okay? How do you know what you want? By first knowing what you don't want. That's the only way of knowing what you want. You first have to know what you don't want. You should always look at yourself as a student of learning, right? I'm always learning. People are always giving me information, and I'm always there and listening. And sometimes I think I don't need the information. It's not valuable. I deem it to be valuable because in my mind, how can I apply whatever it is you're teaching me to what it is I'm trying to do? I'm always a student of learning. All right. That's the biggest gift you can give yourself. Everything is a learning experience. And seeing what you thought was a mistake, right? And now you're looking at it more of a learning tool to make you a better person, to make your life better. Then and only then will you own your power. When you are able to change the way you see things, the things you see will change. So if you look at mistakes more of a do-over, this is an opportunity to learn, okay? Now you're owning your power because you know where those errors came from and you're consciously making the effort not to repeat them, okay? So live authentically, right? By investing in yourself. And understanding who you are is important. And that's something that I open with. Living authentically takes practice. It takes work because you have to peel the layers into understanding who you are. Are you fully going to get there where you completely know yourself? It's no fun if you already got there. There is no destination for this. There is no end story. What is there is adventure, okay? It's adventure. You're peeling the layers. You're always uncovering different aspects of your life. And that's what this channel brings to you today. All right. Strive for a life for yourself that doesn't rob you of your potential because of some self-doubt you have imposed on yourself. All right. But strive for a life that is full and challenges you to grow at every turn. That's the life you want. The life that demands growth of you. The life that is so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I know I got to a certain point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired that I needed to change something. And guess what? I did. Because if you keep living and doing things the old way and nothing is changing, what did Einstein call it? Insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So it's time to change that, okay? The ladder concept, if you remember, I talked about that. The ladder concept, it still applies here, okay? The mistakes were meant to make you stronger. Remember we talked about the ladder concept where when you climb one step, you get stronger. When you climb another, you get stronger. this still applies here, okay? But only if you pay attention with the intention of learning, all right? You can't learn if you don't have an open mind. You can't learn if you're not paying attention to where you need to evolve, all right? You have to be invested in your life by paying attention, understanding who you are. This is your life, and this is your opportunity to live the life that you say you want. This is your opportunity to own your power and mentally prepare yourself, okay? So let's just talk a little bit about some benefits of why making mistakes can be beneficial, can be good for you in some ways, all right? And healthy for your growth as well, okay? And it's not as terrible as you think. It really isn't as terrible as you think. It's actually just meant to help you, to lead you to the areas that you need to get to. All right, you're evolving. All right, you are learning aspects of yourself. It's actually beautiful. It's actually extremely beautiful. It's amazing. When I think of my life and where I am today and where I was a few months ago, it's amazing. But I'm not there yet. Whatever there is no destination, but it's kind of fun to just get to know yourself a little bit more. It's fun to do stuff like that, okay? All right, so let's talk about some of the benefits of making mistakes, okay? They do make you smarter though, right? Because now you know better than you did before. So they make you smarter, all right? They're there to help you learn faster, because why would you make the same mistake? It won't take you nearly as much time as it did before, because you're learning from those mistakes, okay? They give your memory a boost, because now it reminds you of what happened in the past and the outcome of that. So you are reminded to maybe make better choices, do things a little differently, okay? They can motivate you. Yeah. Because now you're saying, okay, now I know what to do or what not to do, so I can just take it from here, okay? They rewire your brain, all right? Because now once you stumble upon aspects that remind you, or maybe things you've been through in the past, your brain automatically makes the connection, right? All right, you did this and this happened, so maybe you should change course. That's what the brain does. That's what mistake will allow you to do, okay? You can override them. You can say, nope, been there and done that, did that before, don't want to do it again, but it's all gonna be with the intention of growth, okay? Remember, if you're not growing and opening your mind to accept possibilities, then you're doing yourself a disservice, and it's not even fair to you that you would do that to yourself, all right? So now that we know that your evolution will require you to make tons of mistakes, remember that, so you can become the awesome person that you are. That's what your mistake and evolution is going to require you. It's going to require you to fall on your face, on your butt, on your head, on your everything. It's going to require you to fall. But all those falls are just stepping stones. It's like a ladder, okay? All those falls are just making you stronger. Every time you fall and get up, you get stronger. Every time you fall and get up, you get stronger. Every time you fall and get up, you get stronger, okay? Again, thanks for tuning into another edition of Salome Says. And remember, no one is like you, and that is your power, all right? I really enjoy doing these videos. I have inspiration all the time. It's all around me, all right? It's really everywhere I turn. I feel like I can talk to you for like ever, because I have so much information. So it's a struggle to kind of just contain things and not go off on a tangent. So I try to make it really good and enough for you. But I'm really passionate about bringing you messages. I'm extremely passionate about sharing knowledge. This is my life's work. I just love doing. This is what I was put on earth to do, and I'm happy that I'm doing it, okay? And I'm happy that I can bring this message to you, and hopefully it resonates with just one person, which will make me happy, all right? All right, so check out my website. It's called Modern Intervention Strategies. See what it is that I'm about. I have a private practice. Just see what it is I'm about, all right? And if you need to book a session, it's an opportunity for you to do so. All right. Well, thank you again. Welcome to Salome Says. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.